Hey kids, welcome to day 79 of Mr. Parker's Bedtime Stories. I hope you've had a great day, whatever you've been up to, whatever you've been doing. We are continuing this wonderful series of My Little Miss World. Only I think 6 left now, so we'll finish next Tuesday. We've done well to find books that last all the way through lockdown, haven't we? And tonight we have someone who just keeps falling over, maybe hurting themselves. It's Little Miss Whoops. Very similar, looks very similar to someone else in the Mr. Men. I'm sure you can work out who that might have been. So let's see what she gets up to. Little Miss Whoops is one of those people who have accidents all the time. She has lots of little accidents, like when she's trying to make lunch and drops the eggs. Whoops! And she has big accidents, like when she painted her bedroom and tripped over the paint pot. Whoops! Oh dear, I don't think that'd come out, would it? Every morning when she makes her own cup of tea, she spills the milk, tips over the sugar bowl, drops the tea bag, breaks the biscuits, knocks her cup of tea across the table, and has to start all over again. Whoops! Some days it can take hours before she leaves the house. Little Miss Whoops really is the most accident-prone person in the world. Well, not quite. I wonder who they're thinking of. I bet it's Mr. Bump. Little Miss Whoops has a brother, Mr. Bump. There we go. He is just like his sister, if not worse. But that is another story, which you may have read, which we have, haven't we? Each year, Little Miss Whoops travels by train to visit her brother for a week. She set off last Tuesday. Oh dear, imagine those two coming together. Everything will fall to pieces, won't it? This Tuesday, Mr. Bump looked at his clock, which was lying on the ground. He had just knocked it over. His sister was late. A whole week late. Where's she got to? She must have had a big accident or something. And why was Little Miss Whoops late? A whole chapter of accidents, of course. While her train was waiting in a station, she somehow or other tripped and fell out of the train. Whoops! And the door's closed. I don't know how she managed that. And then she somehow or other tripped and fell into the back of a lorry, which took her to Seatown. Whoops! Deary me, how did she manage this? This is like an unbelievable story. Where somehow or other she tripped and fell into a boat, which took her to another country. Whoops! Wonder where it's going. She had to wait nearly a week to get another boat back. Oh, looks like she got a nice cruise boat back though. And another lorry. That bright lorry. Looks like she's driving it, doesn't it? And another train. Can you find her? Well done. There she is. Little Miss Whoops was exhausted by the time she finally reached her brother's house. I thought you were coming last week, said Mr. Bump. It must have been a long trip. It was, said Little Miss Whoops. Would you like a cup of tea? Offered Mr. Bump. Can you notice anything different? Look at the colours. Just slightly. And who's got a nose and who doesn't? And you know what that involved, don't you? They spilt the milk, tipped over the sugar bowl, dropped the tea bags, broke the biscuits, and knocked the tea over all over the table. What a mess. Whoops! Oh, look at the time, cried Little Miss Whoops, knocking over the clock. I've got to go if I'm going to catch my train home. She's only just got here. And I don't know how she's read the time when it's like that, falling on the floor. She grabbed her suitcase and rushed out of the door. Goodbye, she called. Goodbye, called back Mr. Bump. See you next year. Mr. Bump waved from the doorway until she had rounded the corner. Looks like she's about to walk into that lamppost, doesn't it? Hopefully not. Then he closed the door, but as he did, the door handle came off in his hand. Whoops, said Mr. Bump. Oh, aren't they a pair together? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed Little Miss Whoops. Tune in tomorrow, guys, for the next story. And it's someone who's not a prince, but something else, and seems very important. So tune in tomorrow for the next of Mr. Parker's bedtime stories. I look forward to joining you tomorrow night. Have a great night, guys, and see you tomorrow.